At many universities, you are more likely to be taught by a part-time professor than one who is there for the long haul. These adjunct professors are often struggling with hectic schedules and low wages. The life of a part-time professor on this edition of Equal Time. Welcome to the campus of San Jose State University in this edition of Equal Time. I'm your host, Journalism School Director Bob Rucker. More than half of the faculty in the California State University system are lecturers, faculty with full or part-time temporary positions. On this edition of Equal Time, Correspondent Jennifer Gonzalez discusses the challenges that adjunct professors face.
Year after year, Cal State institutions undergo drastic budget cuts and are expected to meet the needs of students, faculty, and administration. In a search to cut costs, institutions like San Jose State hire a greater amount of adjunct professors. Despite the advantages of part-time lecturers, adjuncts across campuses say they are faced with discrimination and exploitation. They are given low wages, little to no benefits, and a lack of job security. Associate English Professor Andrew Fleck says adjunct situations affect not only the individual, but they place a strain on a student's education.
Many students may not realize that the professor that they have is teaching 2 classes here and 3 classes at another campus and 2 classes someplace else in order to try to make ends meet, and how difficult that situation is for them.
The faculty to adjunct ratio used to be 75% full-time to 25% adjunct. Today, adjuncts account for more than half the professors.
Nationally, that has been a real trend. There's a real tendency to make use of adjuncts to do the teaching.
Although this affects professors campus-wide, adjuncts in smaller departments like geography have an easier time.
I've been very lucky. I'm very lucky. We're in a small department, and because we're in a smaller department, I think the reliance on lecturers is important, and we teach a lot of particularly the introductory classes that meet the San Jose studies requirements, and so they get large numbers, big interest. And the full-time faculty just are not able to meet the needs of the higher level undergraduate courses and teach those incoming student classes.
So that couple gives us a kind of temporal shift, but then again focuses on...
But for professors like Gloria Collins from the English department, simply teaching a couple of general education classes is not enough.
The university relies a lot on what they call part-time work because they come in at a lower pay scale most of the time, and they have to work their way up the ladder.
In hopes of raising awareness, for the first time this year, campuses across the nation joined together in the National Adjunct Walk Out Day. Although most universities held strikes, SJSU professors and California Faculty Association members were held back from the opportunity.
Well, here at San Jose State, we're having more of an awareness day because right now the faculty at San Jose State, we've already negotiated our contract, at least for 1 year. And so we're bound by law to not strike or have a walkout. So we can't do that. It's illegal to do that.
Despite the university's restraint, professors handed out stickers and discussed the issue in class, leaving many students stunned by the issue. While the situation may not be getting better, there is still hope of improvement among the community of lecturers at San Jose State. We'll show you how professors are raising awareness of their plight.
Now, when we come back, more on the plight of the adjunct professor. As the number of tenured professors has fallen, universities and colleges are hiring more contract-based professors because it's more cost-efficient. Jennifer Gonzalez continues our coverage.
The life of an adjunct professor can be difficult. Universities strapped for money often squeeze their part-timers to the breaking point. A possible solution? Prioritizing and properly allocating money to what directly impacts students. Increasingly here at San Jose State, more money is going to athletics and administration instead of hiring more professors. To try and raise awareness, many adjunct professors joined the California Faculty Association. Through this organization, members try to improve their own working conditions as well as add more tenure-line faculty.
CFA has been pushing, as long as it's been around, to increase the tenure line from the low levels that it's sunk to, and will continue to do so. So but this requires a commitment on the part of the state to adequately fund the CSU, and we're currently about $1 billion underfunded from where we should have been. We're actually educating more students with less money in 2015 than we were in 2007.
Anthropology professor and CFA Board of Directors member Jonathan Karpf says there is a responsibility from the state, the people of California, and the CSU to help fund higher education. He says the money could bring back public education to the high stature that it once had, spending money on professor hiring instead of the high-tech phone system that was integrated into the university the past couple of years.
That was a huge amount of money that could have gone to faculty salaries, the campus equity raises that were bargained in the last contract. It could have gone to hiring more faculty.
Those adjuncts left behind teach as best they can, although their professional future is a bit uncertain.
Low wages, low morale. Those are just some of the problems our panel of professors will discuss, along with Jennifer Gonzalez. Now that's coming up next. Welcome back to this edition of Equal Time in the School of Journalism and Mass Communications at San Jose State. Our focus today is underpaid and overworked adjuncts, or part-time faculty in the CSU system. Let's meet our guests.
Hi, I'm Kevin Moore. I work in the linguistics department. I've been a lecturer here for 14 and a half years.
Hi, my name is Elena Durabji, and I was a lecturer in political science since 1990, and I have just recently retired from the political science department.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Karpf, and I've been a lecturer in the Department of Anthropology at San Jose State for 25 years. I'm also, because we're unionized faculty, I'm the elected lecturer representative for San Jose State University.
Hi, I'm Gloria Collins. I'm a lecturer in the English department. I've been a lecturer here for 35 years, and I've also taught at local community colleges San Jose City College, Evergreen Valley College, and for many years, West Valley College.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Gonzalez, and I'm the correspondent for the show.
I want to thank all of you for being here today, and I think it would help the audience if we started by explaining the differences in terms. In the academic world, we have professors who are tenured, we have professors who are part-time or adjuncts. So Jonathan, I know you're good at helping me explain that. Let's explain to the audience the differences.
Well, if you go back 40 years, the majority of the faculty in the Cal State University system, like most universities, were full-time tenured faculty. And tenure provides job security, provides due process rights, provides academic freedom. And then because of a series of economic decisions, underfunding, especially public universities, over the last 50 years, there's been a decline in tenure line positions and an increase in the number of faculty off the tenure line, known by different terms at different institutions, adjuncts in the CSU lecturers, who lack structural job security and oftentimes are much lower paid and have different working conditions than the tenured faculty.
Very good. And many of these adjuncts or lecturers come from our professions. They bring us the latest and newest thinking and approaches and styles. So how would you describe more of the value of lecturers from our community coming to teach?
Well, we're all valuable. You know, all of us who teach here, I think we're all valuable in the same way. You know, coming from my discipline, which is linguistics, we could have someone fresh from graduate school who's really in touch with the field, and then someone who's been teaching here for 40 years who's in touch with the field in the same way. So we're all we're all basically the same, and the issue that's most important to me here is this artificial division between the lecturers on the one hand and the people on the tenure line on the other hand.
All right, very good. English department is your home base, though?
Yes.
And how long have you seen this notion of adjuncts or part-time faculty not being fully appreciated in the system?
Well,
that's a nice way of putting it.
Thank you, Bob, for that question. I have to say, in my own English department, I've been very well treated over the years, but we do teach a lot of general education classes, a lot of lower division classes, and I've seen over the years actually the deterioration of the full-time tenure line positions, and 60 lecturers with 20 tenured professors. That can be a problem in terms of having a university with PhDs and tenured faculty. But the lecturers certainly take up a very heavy load in the English department because we teach composition classes, we teach a lot of lower division general education classes, of very work-intensive courses.
Very good. And Ellen, you taught at a variety of schools here in the Bay Area.
I did.
Can you tell me from your perspective the impact of lecturers on campus?
Well, because I was a single mother starting out teaching at the age of 40, I had to have more than just the 3 or 4 classes that I could get at any one university. And so I started off at Santa Clara University teaching 2 sections. Then I got another 1 or 2 sections at De Anza, and then I got another 2 sections at San Jose State when one of their faculty suddenly died. And I literally have been doing 6 classes at 3 universities. I did that for about 14 years. And I mean, thank God I lived in Cupertino, which was central, so that I could leave a class at San Jose State at 12:45 and teach a 1:30 class at Santa Clara University. And
hoping the traffic will be good.
Well, in those days the traffic was better and we could park right in front, and it was all a little more congenial. But it was because I'm of Germanic background and super organized that I was able to do this. But I mean, can you imagine when I tell tenured faculty about this, they cannot fathom, that I have 6 classes, and then at the end of my career, I was teaching 500 students per semester. Do you teach 500 students per semester?
And that's extremely
this is a very important point.
Yeah, that's exactly the point.
And we're asked to do this with good graces, skill, not whining, not being prima donnas, not demanding any compensation. And let me say one more thing before I stop, is we don't get a lot of support in terms of, extra money to do preparation for new classes, to, go ahead and maybe get a sabbatical and sort of go back and really improve on our pedagogy. We need to do this on the fly. And I'm just, really grateful that so many lecturers are able to do such superhuman capability. I mean, they have such superhuman capability.
Well, absolutely. And Jennifer, as the correspondent on the story, you as a student at San Jose State get the benefit of working with full-time faculty as well as adjunct faculty. How do you see this story? You wanted to do this story.
I just feel that it's important for students to know who's teaching the class, because I know that a lot of lecturers, they don't have offices, or they have a difficult time meeting with their students because they're teaching a class here and then they have to go to Santa Clara University, they have to go to San Jose City. So it's difficult for them, and it becomes difficult for the students, and I don't think the students understand how important it is to know who their professors are and where is your money going to as well. You're paying so much money in tuition, why isn't it going to your professors? That's what matters.
Absolutely.
But it is important to distinguish between the individuals doing the teaching and their working conditions, right? The problem is not adjuncts not being effective teachers. The problem is too many adjuncts don't have the working conditions that are conducive to providing quality education.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, for example, the issues facing adjuncts across the nation, and one reason why SEIU Adjunct Action has been so successful in unionizing adjuncts at non-unionized colleges and universities, is because with the churning of adjunct faculty and with inadequate compensation, it's hard to provide the quality education. I mean, before we were able to bargain some modicum of job security for lecturers in the CSU, only because we're unionized. When I was first hired back in the late 80s, as soon as somebody got couple of raises, got more expensive, they'd be let go. They'd hire a new lecturer fresh out of grad school. When they got a couple of raises, they got more expensive, they'd be let go. That's called churning of lectures. How does that serve the mission of the university? How does it serve the students if they want to come back 3 years later for a letter of recommendation and that person is gone? Or, as Jennifer cited, I mean, I've been fortunate to have an office for as long as I've been here, but not all lecturers even here have offices. How are lecturers supposed to meet with students and students meet with their faculty if they're not provided the basic necessities of being an effective teacher? An office, a desk, a phone, a computer, a place to meet with students, because so much learning happens outside of the classroom.
And because space is limited on a campus like San Jose State, the administration would say, well, we're doing the best we can. We've never been able to say we guarantee a part-time faculty or adjunct faculty a separate office or a separate location. And yet we understand as faculty, full-time as well as part-time, if you don't have a private space to be able to sit down and talk with students about the concerns and issues of your class or their academics or their graduation planning, you miss the opportunity of connecting with them in the way they need to be connected with. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, that's absolutely right. And the same issue also has to do with the ability of the university instructor to be active in their profession. So, not only do we sit down and talk to students, but we share our research with them. And it's a good thing if you have, the instructor is also a prominent researcher in their field. And in order to do that in a university setting, you need funding for travel and things like that. So for example, in 2012, I went to a conference in Poland where I was recognized among other scholars in my field, and did things, inspired other researchers in their research, and got inspired and found out about the different research so I could come back to the university and teach my students as a person who was prominent in their field. But all of this without any university support. So, I'm a person who's willing to sacrifice for that kind of thing, but I shouldn't have to, I should have the support of the university as I do that kind of thing.
And we are denied that extra support. So even though we're on the same salary scale, we tend to be hired lower on that same salary scale as a tenure line faculty, but we are only paid 80% of that salary scale because we are only hired to teach. And so we are not hired to do the other 20%.
The research,
the research, the committee meetings, the shared governance. That all we either do gratis, and there's a lot of pressure on us to do that gratis. And in fact, for many years, the poor faculty who actually evaluated us judged us on our professional evaluation based on our professional work that we did outside of teaching. So we were kind of, had a double whammy of not getting the money for it, not getting the institutional support, and then being judged basis on, so why didn't you go to conference X, Y, or Z? Why haven't you published? Why haven't you done this other research? Thank God CFA, our union, has put that into our contract to at least make that somewhat more equitable.
Yeah, this is a very important point because tenure line faculty are given the faculty development funds, the travel funds to remain current in their fields. Many tenure-line faculty, if they're teaching a new preparation the next semester, are given a course off the previous semester to prepare. Lecturers are oftentimes initially hired a few days before the first semester begins. They come in, they're not integrated into the fabric of the university, and they're expected to just hit the ground running. And it's not uncommon for lecturers to be given a completely new class they've never taught before, with inadequate time to prepare, and then expected to perform well. Mm-hmm. And then when you add the fact that the evaluations, we have peer evaluations, and we have student opinion surveys, right? And student opinion surveys tend to be privileged over the other ones. This kind of customer-driven notion of evaluation.
What the students think has a great deal of weight.
Yeah, and when you have faculty who lack structural job security, you're going to have lecturers who maybe relax standards sometimes. Not all of us do. I mean, the ones here don't. But a lot of lecturers who are beholden to the students for their continued employment, it's going to affect the quality of education they provide.
Oh, absolutely. We have a situation here in the School of Journalism, as you probably know, a person who's come in from Silicon Valley to teach about the new business-to-business communications in social media. And that's the hot new thing. Mm-hmm. And you really want that, and you want to build on that, and you want to go forward with that. The challenge I have that students don't know, so I'm about to tell you, is that I don't know always if I'm going to have the budget line to keep him. Yeah. He's a popular teacher. He's doing a great service and a wonderful opportunity for our students to open up the future. But we may lose them because of all of these financial concerns. Do students know about that?
See, I didn't know about that, but that disappoints me because I come to the school expecting to get the best education that I possibly can. And if the best professors are there and I enjoy them, and the possibility of them not being here because of a budget thing kind of disappoints me because I work hard to pay my tuition. I work hard to come to school. And to know that could happen, that's pretty disappointing as a student.
Mm-hmm. That happens all across campus. I would imagine in the English department, you have issues where you really want to see your program move forward in a certain way, but you hear that constant, well, we can't do that right now, or we can't afford to bring in, or we have to cut back.
Well, we have cutbacks on some course offerings that students need. And we have the writing skills test here, and we have a prep class, a class that if they are having trouble with the test, we have an alternative. You can take a class, 100A, and sometimes we cannot offer as many sections as we would like to for those students. So in that case, we can't meet demand for that.
Now, in fairness, too, to the administration, I will at least say that they would say to me as a director or as a chair of a department, do the best you can because we have limited resources. We don't get the support from the state like we used to.
Yeah, Bob, all that is true, but let's face it. Okay, it's about priorities, right? I mean, there's when there are administrators that want to be hired in and they have to be given competitive market salaries, there's no problem finding funds. When there's a new student union, when there's a new health building, when there's other priorities, the proliferation of MPPs, administrators, the money's found, right? If the core mission of the university was really a priority of the university, they would adequately, both things are true. There's been a reduction in the state funding of public education going on for a long time. But that said, there's also money in the CSU, which it was reprioritized, would allow you to hire the people that could provide the education you want to provide your students and provide them a salary which allows them to live in a high cost of living area like the Bay Area.
And I think that's
the two are not incompatible.
That's a very key factor, whether it's full-time or part-time faculty. Living here in the Bay Area is
this
tough.
applies to full professors as much as it applies to lecturers.
Absolutely.
This is not specific to lecturers. Lecturers just happen to be worse off because they're much lower in the salary.
Can I be provocative for a minute?
Oh, absolutely.
So I teach political science, so maybe I'm a little more aware of this, but I think the university is doing exactly what the elite who run this country and maybe the entire globe want from university students. They want technically skilled students who are not particularly critical thinkers, who don't have a lot of outside information about the environment in which they live or the world in which they live.
Or society in general.
Or society in general. And so when you have a churning faculty who is not primarily designed to teach critical thinking, who's not to even teach intellectual development, but only job skills. And you teach, and your students believe, I don't know if you believe this, that the reason to go to university is to get a good job making lots of money. I mean, I'm a political scientist. We believe the university is there for you to become intellectually sophisticated and enabled citizens to be able to co-govern.
Yeah,
and that's not really what a part-time faculty is able to provide. They can't do the pushback even with shared
Go ahead,
governance.
Christine.
No, yeah, like I definitely understand that because I've taken a couple classes with a lot of lecturers, and some of them don't have the resources to, you know, give me that extra push. A lot of them didn't even have an office. I would have to meet them at the Pomegranate Cafe to talk to them about like a test or needed help with an essay, and it doesn't really provide that school environment. It makes me feel like I'm paying for an education that I'm not really being given to. And I feel
But your
like
education is being given to you as to what the powers that be
Yeah.
that actually control the funds want from you.
Yeah.
To be a nice little, technically competent worker bee that just basically does, you know, what the industrial machine needs from you.
But that's not why I came here. I came here to be more,
well-
like I wanted to engage my mind. I want to be
Right.
more in understanding of the world. I don't want to be, you know, so
I
close-minded.
think it's the question of an educated person who
Right.
exits the university and is not just a person who is trained in a particular field, like you can be an accountant or a nurse, but that you have that general education, which I see attacks upon general education in the push to get so many units and get the students out of here, get them out of here like it's a bus station, you know. But there is that educated student that you want to have a well-rounded education and not just be, like you say, a worker bee in a particular field.
And in the short time remaining, I know a lot of these adjuncts we hire come in with a great deal of passion and energy
yes.
and new drives, and excites the classroom, excites the mind is our motto in journalism. But if you lose that, or if you can't keep them because they simply can't afford to continue being a lecturer, what's going to happen? What would be the future of the programs in CSU?
Well, that's right. I mean, one thing we've always said in CFA is faculty working conditions or student learning conditions. You can't have over half the faculty by headcount given inadequate, you know, not a living wage for many of us, not all, but many lecturers are not given a living wage, not given structural job security, not given the respect, not given the integration with the university, and not have it affect the quality of the education that's provided by the institution.
And this situation also affects the tenure line people, because if the higher percentage of the faculty is the lecturers,
That's right.
then all the committee work, all of the things that only tenure line people do, now there's fewer people to do that.
Right,
So,
shared governance,
all
you
of
know,
that.
yeah, right.
So it puts a squeeze on everyone.
And I think the public perceives that now, and I'm glad that we've had the opportunity to talk about it. There needs to be more discussion because the public is better served when we have the faculty that we need to enable the young people out there coming to us to have a future that they dream and hope for, like you.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Thank you all for being here today, and thank you for joining us. We hope you come back for another edition of Equal Time.